Well, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly how to go ahead and use Excel completely easily. Hopefully you all enjoy this type of video. Excel is a very easy tool to kind of use. It's mostly used for, data processing, very easy data editing. That's one of the coolest things about Excel. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know a lot more about Excel than you currently know. Now, Excel comes out in a few different flavors, so to speak. It comes out in the online version that I have here. It also comes out in a workbook, a desktop application. You can also access it via Teams, your phone, a lot of different ways. So if you just type in excelonline.com or Excel Online on Google, you'll be able to find it all the way there. Now, this is what an Excel workbook is. So I'm going to give you a quick layout on exactly the tabs and everything like that before actually getting into the cells. At the very top, you're going to have your simple little file tab. So this tab, if you're on the online version, you'll have your name up here in a little search bar. But if you're on the desktop version, it'll probably just show you this tab at the very top. The file tab allows you to quickly open up your workbook. You can share it out, export it, you can rename it, all sorts of quick things like this. The Home tab allows you to quickly edit up a lot of different things within your dataset. So if you want to quickly paste something from from something you copied, you can click paste. You can change kind of the format of the cells if you want to make the text bigger or smaller. You can go in here and do that. You can also change the font. You can edit up your data right here if you want to go and align it center. You can merge it center if you want to. You have a lot of these conditional formatting things right here, these styles. Under cells, you can insert more cells or delete cells if you want to. You can also throw in equations, you can sort and filter, a lot of different add-ins, and if you have it, you might have Copilot at the very end as well. On the Insert tab, each one of these will have certain things. So I would recommend going through and just kind of getting used to all these different tabs because there's a lot of information here. There's a lot of things you can do here. So just kind of go through here, kind of understand all these different ones. The big ones that you'll normally use for the most part are ones typically like, home, insert. I use data a lot, and you can also use these other ones too. At the very top, sometimes if you're editing a workbook, you might not want to actually edit it, you might just want to view it. So if you click on view, it'll move it away from actually being able to edit up the data to viewing it. So now you can type in whatever you want to, and it's not actually going to change anything unless you click on edit workbook. Then we'll switch it to edit, then you can start editing your workbook. And you can also share out your workbook if you click out the share button right there. Now at the very bottom, you're going to have this Sheets button. So what this will allow you to do is it's going to allow you to add different sheets to your workbook. So this is page 1. If I want to, I can click on the plus button, and now I have a different sheet. Sheets are completely different. So if I go ahead and click on the cell A, for example, if I just type in something like this, if I go back to sheet 1, you'll see that that's not there. The reason for that is because whatever is on sheet 2 is completely separate than what's on sheet 1. So this is something that's really cool. They're completely different sheets, so you can have different data in each individual sheet. Now, the way Excel works is by holding different data sets in it. So typically the first row right here, these are rows, and then typically the first row will typically be columns. So here we can go ahead and kind of start labeling some columns. So if you already have a data set, you can bring it in. If not, you can just bring it in like this. We can go ahead and type in name. So that could be the first column, could just be name. The next column could be something like, units. And then the next column could be something like price. Now, or we can do like unit price, for example. That might even be better. So we could then kind of have something, under the row column right here for the first row, these are going to be your columns. So then the rest of this particular table will be our values. So the name column, for example, will have names right here. The units will be like a number, it will be like the number of units, and the unit price will be a dollar amount probably for how many unit prices we have. But as long as you know that the first row is typically columns, that's kind of the easy way to start it. Then we can start writing down names. So we can start naming things like Sam and Liz and Tom and Bob. So we can just write on some random names like that. And then we can just put some arbitrary numbers right here. We can also put down like some arbitrary numbers right here. So these numbers are completely different. They don't really even matter. So this is a basic table. So now we can do some formatting. So if you want to, if the first row you want to go ahead and actually make it kind of stand out a little bit, you don't want to just blend in with everything. If you click on the Home tab right up here, like I showed you before, you'll have this little area right here. This is a really cool way of kind of making your table stand out. If you click on the B button, that will actually allow your table to kind of stand out a little bit. Now, this is something I do all the time, so it just makes it stand out and makes me know that these are column names, and then these are values within the column names. But this table kind of looks a little small, right? Well, what you can do is you can go through and make these tables even bigger. Now, if you want to, you can click on the plus A button right here with the grow font, and you can start clicking up. But if you look at it, you'll see that, well, it's not really changing anything. Like I'm clicking up and it's not really changing anything. We have to remember that within Excel, we have to actually highlight what we want to increase. So whenever we want to do any data manipulation, any data editing, we always want to make sure we highlight the cells that we want to increase, and we can start going through and start increasing it. So now you can see you can start increasing it by clicking A, and the table ends up getting bigger and bigger. But now the columns are kind of weird, right? Like I want these columns to kind of be uniform. Like look at this. This is kind of bleeding into the D column. Well, what you can do is this little value right here, this little top square icon, if you click on this little thing right here, it will actually highlight the whole entire sheet. The benefit of this, like I said, if you're wanting to edit things, you'll have to highlight it. If you actually double click in between these spaces right here, so like right in between A and B, there's this little line. If you double click into that, it will actually automatically change the sizing between these particular columns. So this is something that's actually really convenient because it will go ahead and make things look a lot neater. Now you can also go through and you can change the coloring and underlining and all that kind of stuff. But let's say I want to go ahead and kind of, make these particular values centered. Like I don't want them kind of being all over the place. I can click on this Align Center button right here. I can align this table like this. But for those of you who know, this is a, data, this is some data we have in Excel, but it's not really a table. It's typically good to have your, data sets as tables. They can read better inside of other tools. So if we click on the Insert button right up here, we'll have this table option. If we click on Table, it will allow us to go and automatically create a table from this data set. It's going to look nicer. It's just going to be a better format, and we can read it into other, things out there. So we can click on OK, and it will automatically turn that data into a table. I think it looks cleaner and it looks a lot nicer. Now, if we want to, we can also go ahead and copy this data set just by, highlighting it like this. You can do Command C, or you can just like right click and just click copy right here. You can go to the sheet that we made a second ago. You can delete whatever we had, and we can go and paste that table that we had here. So it might take a little bit of time. For some reason, it's not really pasting. Now we got it. So you can go and paste that there. This is a different data set that we have here. So just to give you an idea, this is kind of what it looks like. Now, another thing we can do is we can create pivot tables within Excel. So if we have our data set, as long as we're clicked into this data set, if we want to, we can go ahead and basically click on the pivot table option here, and we can go and start creating pivot tables, aka charts. So we can click on From Table or Range right here since we created a table, and we can go and create some sort of table or some sort of pivot chart. So this is what it looks like. In this case, we're making a pivot table, but if we wanted to go and make a chart, we can go and click out of here. We can click on the recommended chart option here, and we can start getting some options of some charts we can make right within Excel. So if we click on this, right, if I click on Insert Chart, we just made a super quick chart right from this data set. So that's something that's actually really cool. So you can go through and modify a lot of things that you want to within this data set like this. You can go and highlight over it. You could modify it. You have a lot of different options here for the most part. So that is something that's actually really cool that you can kind of do here as well. So from here, you can move the chart around. You can click Select Data, and you can change the data that's within these particular cells as well. But you can also go through and move it around here if you want to. You can also click on Format if you want to change the chart title, if you want it or not. It's totally up to you. So there's a lot of options you can kind of do here. Now we can move on to our other sheet. Remember how we copied and pasted that data? We can also go through and we can use a different chart if we want to. We can click on here and we can make a donut chart if we want. So now if you see it, we have two different tables and we have two different sheets that we can kind of modify from. You can even double click on this sheet right here if you want to change the name of it. So that's something that's actually really cool as well. On top of that, there's a lot of functions within Excel that are really, really cool to use. If you click on the data tab right here, you're going to sometimes have a lot of different options right here. So what you can always do is you can go ahead and click clean data if you want to quickly clean out your data. If you have a really big data sets, you can click on remove duplicates. And if you had multiple records of like rows that are the same, you can just go through and clean out your data by just removing the duplicates within it, which is something that's actually really convenient to do. You can also validate your data, you can group your data, you can also filter out your data. When you have it in a table, you can always just click on the drop down here, and you can always create a filter. You can filter by cell color. You can have other filters here too if you really want to, which that's something that's really convenient and really cool to have. And you can also sort your data by sorting by ascending or descending. You can also go through and connect your data to different, Excel workbooks or databases or different things like that. It really just depends on what you want to connect to. But typically, you're going to be probably editing your data within Excel and then maybe like saving it as an XLSX file or something like that. Now, if you want to, you can also click on the File button that's in the top left corner. When you click on File, it'll show you here. Well, once you're done editing up all your data within Excel, you have a couple of different options. You can click on the Export button here, and you can download it as a CSV, as an ODS file. If you have the desktop version, the application, you can save it as a lot more options. You can save it as an XLSX file. You can save it as a lot of different things there. So this one is just a little different because it's like the online version. But if you want to, you can also you can export it as a CSV and kind of use it that way as well, which is something that's really cool. You can also create a copy if you want to by downloading a copy or creating a copy online. So you do have those types of options there as well. So that's kind of a quick layout on exactly how to use Excel, right? There's a lot of different things within Excel. So this is a very high level on the layout of Excel, the different cool little features, creating data, and then creating some pivot charts inside of it and pivot tables. I'll make some other videos on some more detailed, things within Excel and kind of what to do there. But at a high level, that's pretty much how you use Excel for beginners. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.